Hello everyone and welcome to The No Show. I'll be your host Nathan Orenstein, and today I'm going to be reviewing Project Hail Mary. Project Hail Mary is written by Drew Goddard, directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, and stars Ryan Gosling, Sandra and James Ortiz. Dr. Ryland Grace wakes up alone on a spaceship with no recollection of who he is or what he's meant to be doing. He eventually remembers that he's on a mission to discover how to stop the sun from being consumed by a substance called astrophage. And to do so, he teams up with an unlikely companion, a rock-like alien that he names Rocky. Project Hail Mary is based on the novel of the same name by Andy Weir. Project Hail Mary is the first real blockbuster of 2026, and luckily, it's a very high-quality one. I'm not going to beat around the bush here. I think Project Hail Mary is great, and I have no problems recommending it to anyone with even the tiniest interest in science fiction movies. Let's talk about the structure and the story of the film a bit to kick things off. So, like I said, Dr. Ryland Grace wakes up with amnesia on a spaceship before eventually realizing what he has to do. He slowly starts to regain his memory through flashbacks, which of course gives us insight into his backstory too. We learn that he's somewhat of a disgraced scientist, now working as a middle school science teacher after losing his previous molecular biologist job. Turns out that a mysterious substance called astrophage is migrating from Venus to the sun to essentially eat its energy, and that within 30 years, this will cause the sun to dim enough that the Earth's temperature will drop 10 to 15 degrees, resulting in all sorts of problems and the death of a significant portion of the population. Grace is brought in to help research the issue and eventually finds himself aboard the Hail Mary as the lone survivor in the present day. And in the present day, he meets Rocky, who is similarly the lone survivor of a ship and is on a mission from his own planet to stop their sun from dying as well. So in the present day, Grace is working with Rocky to figure out a solution, and through the flashbacks we see how Grace came to be an astronaut on this mission. I think relying so heavily on flashbacks is a very dangerous game to play, but Project Hail Mary handles it pretty well. The flashbacks do help keep the pace moving in a film that's admittedly probably a bit too long, and the way they fit in narratively too with Grace regaining his memory means they really serve a double purpose. It also means you're sort of getting two separate, though obviously very connected, stories happening at once, and that just makes things more interesting at the end of the day. But what makes this the blockbuster that it is, and such a good one at that? Let's start with Ryan Gosling, who is maybe the most talented blockbuster actor working today. He's obviously incredibly charming, and he plays relatable characters really well, and he has great comedic delivery, but he also has the acting chops to handle all the heavy emotional stuff too. Project Hail Mary features probably the most Ryan Gosling of any Ryan Gosling movie, seeing that he is the only person on screen for most of this film, and his effortless range has never been as important as it is in a film like this. And he fully pulls it off, to the point where I can't really imagine anyone else playing this character. But, as fantastic as Gosling is as largely the only human character on screen, it's his chemistry with Rocky that is really the lifeblood of this movie. Watching them discover each other's existence and then learning how to communicate and then eventually becoming friends is really fun and really beautiful. And their relationship is ultimately the compelling basis for the film's themes of hope and camaraderie and empathy and bravery. The dialogue is a bit limited and simple due to the language barrier between the two, but the writing is so sharp that it actually works well still even within these confines. Rocky himself is instantly lovable too, which is a huge relief, because if they didn't get Rocky right, this movie would have fallen flat on its face. He's honestly probably my favorite portrayal of alien life ever, if I'm being completely honest, and watching him team up with Grace is fantastic. As far as presentation goes, just like the best space movies, Project Hail Mary looks and sounds amazing. The design of the Hail Mary is great and very detailed, and it really felt like directors Lord and Miller had a good understanding of the space of the ship and how everything was connected. When things start to get chaotic, the interior of the ship gets messier and more crowded, but it always felt like they were in control of how to capture it all on film without it being overwhelming. The space imagery is also great, and while not as flashy as some of the other big-name space films, it still has some jaw-dropping moments that use light and color in a way that feels truly magical. And speaking of magic, Daniel Pemberton's score is stunning here, and does such an incredible job of elevating everything that's happening on screen. It adds such a magical sense of wonder to the film that makes it all feel new and like you're part of the discovery, even if the movie is ultimately kind of a hodgepodge of ideas we've mostly seen before in other films. And while no, Project Hail Mary isn't the most original film out there by any means, it approaches its familiarity in a way that really does trick you into thinking it's fresh. And I mean that in the best way. Lord and Miller are the guys that brought us the Lego Movie all these years ago, and that sense of wonder and discovery that you get watching that film is really probably the biggest selling point here as well. I've spoken for several minutes now about all the little things that make Project Hail Mary so great, but I could have just as easily said that it gave me one of the best experiences I've had at the theater all year. It made me laugh during its funny moments, it made my heart race during its high intensity moments, and it nearly made me cry several times during its emotional moments. And through all of that, the technical craft on display really made me feel like I was experiencing movie magic. It's like going down a checklist of all the things that make a crowd-pleasing blockbuster. Yes, it's too long. Yes, it's a lot of familiar ideas. But at the end of the day, Project Hail Mary is a great blockbuster that I hope everyone can go and experience on the big screen. I'm going to be giving it an 8 out of 10. If you enjoyed the review, then feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. And if you've seen Project Hail Mary already, I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. I've been Nathan Orenstein with The No Show. Thanks for watching.